Welcome, everybody, to a Delco Nerd Network Rewind review, where we sit down and discuss some of our favorite film franchises of the past. On this very special episode, we will be discussing James Cameron's Avatar, in preparation for Avatar Way of the Water coming out very, very soon. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Anthony the Gooch Ragucci.
I see you, Drea.
I see you too, Gooch. How are you?
We're good, man. We're good. I got a nice hot chocolate chip cookie in me.
Same.
I'm reinvigorated.
Absolutely delicious.
Podcast,
Shout out to your mother. She did an amazing
job.
job.
You can watch now.
Great stuff.
Twitch or not Twitch.tv. YouTube.com/Delco Nerd Network. Any podcast services we're on, we're there. Make sure to review us, subscribe.
All helps. But we're here to talk the biggest movie ever, I would say, like box office wise. Initially released December 18th of 2009, Avatar came in at a rating of PG-13 with a production budget of, I was seeing varying. I saw 227 million, maybe 300 million is the real number, give or take, and I don't believe that includes advertisement. With an opening weekend of a pretty minute number, I will say, 77.1 million. A lot less than I would have expected for literally the...
I don't know if I saw it opening weekend.
I don't know if I did either. I know I saw it in the theater for sure.
In 3D.
I remember I saw it in IMAX. I remember truly being like...
Odd. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
I can imagine.
But, yeah. So, with a worldwide box office as of today, or as of this recording, of 2.9 billion with a B.
Yeah, this is definitely the highest grossing movie we've ever talked about on the podcast.
No, absolutely.
It's on the Rewind reviews.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the highest grossing movie of all time.
It's number one.
I'm pretty confident.
Endgame was
again? Well, because of the re-releases and such. And I'm sure that will just be a dance that kind of forever happens
between those
two movies. Written and directed by James Cameron himself. The story follows a paraplegic Marine dispatched on the moon Pandora on a unique mission where he becomes torn between following his orders and protecting the world he now calls his home.
So Pandora is a moon, not a planet?
Apparently.
Okay.
On the moon Pandora. Yeah, that's at least. According to IMDb, I'm pretty confident.
I got a lot of lore questions.
A lot of lore questions.
Like
I'm
I usually
excited.
do with Rewind reviews. But I did want to point out, no guest this time. First time we're doing a Rewind review without a guest. We asked some people, but
it just wasn't lining up.
Yeah, and we were like, we got to do it. We have it's a one-off.
I was going to say it's a one-off, so we were just going to hit it out of the park.
And we're streaming it twitch.tv/Delco Nerd
First one we've ever streamed, actually.
Yeah, because we usually bulk them up and then
release them. Yeah,
but since we're only doing one,
we thought, why not?
Right. And this will release in the week Way of Water comes out. So
probably like either next week or the week after. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it'll be like the Game Awards podcast will come out on the Monday, and then probably like the Tuesday will be Avatar.
Yeah, it's out the 9th. When is it out? The 19th?
17th?
Oh, it's the 17th?
17th is the Friday?
Yeah, no, 16th. That's a Friday. So yeah, we put this out next week, I think.
Yeah, right.
Gooch, Avatar, with a runtime of 2 hours and 43 minutes or so. What did you think about revisiting James Cameron's last movie? He hasn't done a single movie since.
He did. Who did I Lead a Battle Angel?
I think he just produced that.
Okay, but he's in it.
He's in it. I think I'm fairly confident.
I think you're right. He's
just produced it.
He just produced it. He didn't direct it.
Just, even like Terminator, like he produced that as well. Pandy.
What the fuck's this movie called? Avatar. Yeah, I mean, there was a reason I thought it was overhyped and overliked and this weird franchise that only had one movie but became this huge phenomenon, which I understand, and we definitely need to talk about that in terms of the CGI. But it's not the best movie. It's weirdly paced. It's oddly paced. There's not 3 acts. There's like definitely 2. And
it's like 2.5 almost in a weird way.
The beginning is quick and the end is a little long. But I do like I like the very beginning and like the last hour. This movie isn't terrible, but it's like I was saying, like I always thought, like I'm like, why is everyone so hype on Avatar? It's not that good, and I haven't seen this movie front to back in fucking since I saw it.
I was gonna say I think
theaters.
it's the same for me too.
Like I'm like I barely remembered this movie. Like watching it, I'm like, this is like the first time. Like it's really been that long, and I was like, maybe I'll have like a new epiphany. Maybe I'll be like, oh, Avatar is that good. I understand why it has a fucking Disney park and whatever. But no, it did not come to that conclusion. This movie is just as, I think mediocre is harsh, but I'll say it for like the understanding of where I'm coming from. Mediocre is what I thought it was. after a year or two, and everyone's like, "Oh, Avatar."
But even that, I do feel like that's become less of the. I feel like when the Avatar 2 was announced, people were like, "Who cares about Avatar still?" And even James Cameron talking about it.
What do you mean? There's 6 more?
It's 5 more. I think it's 5 total.
It's been all 12 years. Since
2009 was when this came out. Yeah.
And what's funny, I was watching it, and I was watching like a hawk trail. You want to know why? I was looking for the cracks in the CGI. I was looking.
I was too.
To see what had aged poorly, and I was surprised to see that I think we are just hitting the point where CGI is starting to age.
Sure, well, it depends on the CGI for sure.
It's not. It's very good for the most part, but like there are some parts I'm like,
No, I think overall for this.
I see you aging CGI.
No, absolutely. I still do think it. Listen, first off, I'll start off by saying this: James Cameron is a visionary filmmaker who's made some of the most incredible movies we've ever seen, and I truly think I can never count him out because this movie did make $2.9 billion for some fucking reason. I will start off with that.
Man.
It is a spectacle.
It was when it came out.
I think actually, I would say overall the CGI still feels perfect. I do. I think I don't find it. I didn't find the aging to be really bad at all. I thought for literally being a completely 100% computer generated photorealistic image for 60% of the movie was genuinely mind blowing, especially for being in 2009.
And that's. Sorry.
No,
and that's why this movie is a big deal, because like that, it's 2009. Nothing like that had ever been done on that level, in that detail, of that quality. Like that's why this movie is a big deal, and it has every right to be.
Absolutely, and it doesn't feel jarring when you're going back and forth from the CG. At least for me, it really didn't stick out to me that hard. Like when you would go from like the Na'vi and their kind of big tree to like them back at the corporation.
Jake gets trapped in the forest and meets Neytiri, and then he gets pulled out after that.
It does.
That is jarring.
I will say.
I was like,
I agree.
We're back. I'm like, I'm watching a different movie now. But going from like when it was quick, it was fine. But when it really like that part, I think is the longest.
When they were kind of intersecting those, I would agree.
Yeah.
I thought overall the just story was very. We get it. We see what you're doing. I understand the themes. I appreciate them. Save the world. Probably shouldn't colonize. That's great stuff. But I do feel like
colonization.
It's more of the tree. No, I agree.
Yeah,
I think that's more.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, that's definitely. And even Cameron talks about it a lot in his interviews. He's a tree hugger, self-proclaimed. And
is he?
Yeah, you talk.
Is that a fun fact?
That is a bit of a fun fact. I just saw that when I was doing some research. But no, I get
Not
that
fun. But
and I do think they do an amazing job of just setting up Pandora in that first half hour of when he kind of arrives and like the technology that the humans are making, what Pandora looks like. That first time you see Pandora like in the iridescent like kind of splendor and like the bioluminescence, it looks cool. And I will give them that they created.
It's very unique.
It's a unique yet familiar jungle.
Right.
Almost.
It's not like alien level of design where it's like this is really foreign. It's like the Na'vi are pretty.
It's like this is like maybe Earth if it went a different way.
They're not that weird.
Yeah.
Like okay, like they have like
they're 10 feet tall,
and they have like weird like sex tails, or
sex
hair tails, whatever. And like I'm like, but like you're not watching that movie and go, whoa, this is weird. Like no, it looks. It's alien, but it's like everyone can get behind it.
Absolutely, and it's very much that idea like everything is connected, but he literally physically. It's like no, this tree and this forest is a literal neural network, and I like that idea. Brain. And I like the idea of the Na'vi,
Grace
like
was trying to say,
yeah,
or what she does say.
It's like a biological computer almost, like where they can upload and download information from, and that's a very interesting idea. I really liked Sigourney Weaver in this. I thought she did her part very well.
Yeah, I think Sigourney is probably like, and Stephen Lang are like stand out in this movie. I love how Sigourney's smoking at the start, like very like classic, like like Ripley.
You want to hear a fucking insane thing? It's a fun fact. Those are completely CGI.
No way.
No real cigarettes were smoked. She pantomimed smoking cigarettes, and they put it in.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Why?
Apparently she didn't like holding a lit cigarette in her hand or something.
During a scene?
And I guess
I'm pretty sure she smokes in Alien, doesn't she?
She might have stopped smoking by then, because I know even when they use like fake cigarettes in a movie, they're terrible for you. They're just like it's not. I think it's tobacco, but it's just awful.
Let's chain smoke.
I mean, why isn't she? Honestly, truly, she should have been smoking a vape at this point in her life. But We'll leave that.
Especially
at that point in the future. That's all I'm saying. But
no vapes yet.
No vapes, apparently. But yeah, I thought they did a great job of world building. I just found the actual dialogue itself sometimes to be super not tight.
I would disagree on the world building.
All right.
I agree with you when you said like the first 30 minutes they really like get us into this world. But like they start introducing ideas and stuff. It's like, okay, here's where what is up with me on Rewind reviews always like having these like deep, like lore questions.
Because it's interesting. I like talking about this stuff. It's
like,
great.
Why we kind of know why the humans are on Pandora. Like they're looking for like
unobtainium.
Right. They're looking for a new resource, right?
Yeah.
Where maybe there's a resource war going on. I don't know Stephen Lang's character's name, so I'm just going to call him Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang talks about like wars in like different countries, but it's nothing too like crazy, but it's like, okay, like what is he talking about? Like where were these tours at and what were they resource wars? You know, that's usually
you really don't know anything about Earth.
Right. Like, and like we know it's in the 2100s.
Yeah, the 21st century. Yeah, so I think it's 2150 something or something like that.
And you know, and like the first scene of the movie is really jarring, I find.
Yeah.
When like Sully's brother is like shot and killed, and you see these like weird guys.
It does kind of catch you up very weirdly.
Like this like doesn't look like the rest of the movie. It's really
that's actually a very good point. They are just in regular current day suits and things like it doesn't feel like it's 100 years in the future. And I'm not saying you need to have them wearing space suits and like silver or like whatever, but
it just seems weird. It's out of that, like that first scene's a little out of place.
No, I would actually agree with that. I didn't even think about that, but now that you're pointing that out, it's 100% true.
And you know, I'm gonna not jump forward. I'm like thinking two things and I'm thinking about what I want to say. Yeah, and then we get to the Na'vi and it's like, okay, like, you know, they have a god and like there's clearly
Yahweh, right? Or is it
Iwa?
Iwa, that's it, not Yahweh.
Yahweh is Yahweh, true to Kaiser.
That's right,
from Fallen New Vegas. Do you love where I just like?
I think that is like that's like actually Greek though or something, right?
No, it's a I think it's Latin.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, continue.
Yahweh. I don't know. You could Google that.
So God is real on Pandora.
Yes.
That's also a thing.
Yeah. So like the Na'vi have like this, you know, this whole culture and this whole religion, and they just surface level talk about it, but I'm like, there's more here, and I don't really think it ever gets explored.
Sure.
And then the movie doesn't really have enough time to do it, especially with like the you know, the fight for the tree like looms closer. It's like they really don't have enough time to like really talk about it, and clearly they know a lot about the Na'vi because Grace writes a book about it.
And
like they do know,
and she was teaching them for a while. Like she had students there. Like you see the pictures of her like school that she was working with them.
Yeah. I'm like, they clearly know a lot about the Na'vi, and I'm curious if there's like a, you know, like a fucking book out there that talks about.
Well,
all
you
this
see,
stuff.
do you see Sully holds it up? He literally holds up.
No.
I see.
In real world,
I'm sure you could. There's something. James Cameron's given a bunch of interviews on
like
this.
the world of Avatar.
Yeah, and like what the Na'vi,
like we have with the Star Wars.
Sure.
Shit,
No,
like,
that makes
we're
sense.
getting more like information about the Knights of Ren in a book than we did the actual movies. Like especially with all like the Disney parks and stuff, and I wonder where like what they have to be pulling from more than just this movie, because like it's crazy that we have Star Wars parks and we have Disney parks and all this shit built around one movie, a singular movie.
Well,
This isn't a franchise. Like it's just the movie is just very influential, and it's one. And I don't know if we have a lot of books.
That's why I had to give that disclaimer at the beginning of, I don't know what James Cameron does, what secret sauce he puts in these movies. Sometimes it gets he makes something that people want to enjoy more of for some reason, and even like expound more upon. I don't know what, like, I think Pandora by itself as a location is incredibly interesting, and that idea of walking through a bioluminescent forest at night is very cool, and you can maybe make some interesting, you know, rides and such out of that. But you're right, I don't know why it has such a like mainstay.
And obviously with more movies we can get into it, but again, we're like, apparently there's like eight fucking
I think
Avatar
5.
movies.
This is the next one will be the second of 5 that he has played.
Yeah, and it's like, but it's been like 12 years since you made the first one. It's like, you know, like look at Harry Potter. We just did a rewind review on that. You can go check that out in our backlog. But like, Harry Potter is 8 movies to get into its lore. And the first one, it doesn't overwhelm you, but like every movie, it kind of builds more and more and more and more. And obviously there's books to go off of, but
Sure.
the lore is like very well established in those movies, as we talked about. Like there were a lot of questions, but like everything seems pretty laid out. Pretty
absolutely.
obviously, and I think you can like kind of like.
But I think you just answered your question. They had multiple movies to do that.
Right,
Whereas like
right.
this is just.
And I guess that leads into my point. It's like it's crazy that like we have parks over one movie.
No, I agree. And that
That's-
shows, but that like I was saying, that shows you for some reason, I don't know why he has it, the power of James Cameron.
And going back, and it's like, you know, when Sully gets off the plane and we find out he's in a wheelchair, which is kind of a cool reveal because they don't show that he's a paraplegic.
Yep.
I guess he's not paraplegic.
See, they said paraplegic in this. I thought paraplegic was when you were from the neck down. Like I thought.
No,
that
paraplegic is when you. I thought it was when you specifically lose your legs.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you
But he
just
still
didn't have.
has his legs.
Yeah, I think he just lost feeling in it somehow.
And I guess they CGI'd his legs.
So those are real, but they like so his actual legs are like in the chair, and then they have fake prosthetic legs on top, and then they CGI the chair. So those so it's because it's funny. I was actually asking. I was watching with my girlfriend. I'm like, those look really real. That's weird.
Yeah, especially when he like lifts them
onto the thing.
Yeah, that's when I first noticed is when he was wearing shorts.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
no,
I'm like, they look
they're like
real. but,
atrophied. Yeah, like they would. Yeah,
they're definitely not his real legs.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they're coming off the plane and he's talking about how like these are all like ex-Marines, but now they're mercenaries. Very Outer Heaven, Metal Gear, Big Boss vibes.
Sure.
Where like these ex-soldiers are now guns for hire.
Yeah.
And working for a company, which I was like, so what's this company doing?
Yeah.
Did this company like?
Yeah, do
find
they
this
name
planet?
the country or company? I should say. Do they name the
No.
company? I can't remember.
So like this company is.
I really didn't like
out
that
on
like CEO dude. I felt like he was so like stereotypical. But I'm sorry. Yeah.
Like this company is out on this planet, I guess, trying to find resources, right, to sustain Earth, but like, and like. It's they almost don't again they don't tell us enough like this
You really don't know what's going
what
on.
is going, like when did they come here?
Are they
When did
mining other planets? Are these the only aliens we've discovered?
When did they establish this base? How did they get this base up and running? How long did it take? Like there's so many questions, and I'm just like they seem like they've been here like maybe if
I'd say within 5 years.
I would say max
Because it takes
10.
5 years to get there.
Max 10 years.
Yeah. So
Actually,
I think maybe
that's
even longer.
bullshit. Probably like 30.
I'd say 20 to 30 because like the journey's 5 years out there in cryo or whatever. And then, yeah, so that would make, to set up all that shit, I can only imagine. I felt like the human tech, what vibes did you get from it? Did
It's
anything
somewhat
stick out?
futuristic, but not that futuristic.
It feels very Halo-y to me.
Thank you, Trio.
That's why I was
Thank
like,
you.
like between the
while I was
copters
watching
and
it,
everything,
I'm
it feels
glad you
super
said it
Halo.
because I forgot about it.
Yeah.
But I'm watching this and I'm like, yeah, the air vehicles, the aircrafts.
They look like Hornets, right?
Hornets and
Yeah.
Pelicans,
Yeah.
like very Halo.
Pelicans,
aesthetic vibe.
especially, yeah, with
I
the way-
wouldn't- even like the their mechs kind of look like the Mantis.
Yeah, somewhat,
in the
but I
way
wouldn't- yeah.
in the way their anatomy is.
Yep.
And like just the way it looks and like especially how it moves and stuff. And
Sure.
those mechs are really cool.
They
I
are.
like that. But like their guns are pretty like they look like Halo.
That's what I
guns.
mean. I'm surprised
they're
it's-
modernly future, but they're not like
They're moderately futuristic almost.
they're
yeah,
not
like,
identifiable. Like look at Halo's assault rifle. It just like
it looks like a human weapon,
it has
but
like a holographic like ammo counter, but
Yeah.
it looks real.
relatively something you could make today. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I did find that to be very interesting.
they
I'm curious
used Halo
he did
as a
because
base.
wasn't he supposed to do a Halo movie, or am I making that up in my
Yeah,
mind?
You're correct.
I really feel like he was.
I really would not be surprised if they used Halo as a base for their idea because it was
Especially
it's
for like
2009.
the human tech. Yeah.
ODST or maybe ODST was the last Halo game out at that point. So like Halo was an established IP at
Sure.
this point. So maybe.
So what did you think about Sully's journey to becoming an Avatar? Like that whole, I felt like it kind of like all of a sudden
gets
he's
rushed.
just with them, and then he's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's riding a horse. Now
Right.
he's riding a dragon. Now
That's
he's doing this.
That's exactly my point. Like they kind of like introduce it and it's like, oh wow, obviously like Sully is getting a second life here.
He's having sex with all those animals too. It's disgusting. Disgusting.
I mean, he can't do it, normally. So
Why do they have sex characteristics?
They don't have nipples.
No, I know.
the
They
females
don't have
do not
genitals
nipples.
either.
I was looking
No,
at
they
Zoe
do actually, though.
Saldana's
No, 'cause me-
boobs.
I'm
like, where's that
My
nipple?
girlfriend and I, we saw it. They had nipples.
Are you the guys
We were
do.
pretty because
The
we were
men
going
do.
back and forth. We saw nipples. I'm fairly
The
confident.
men do. And I was intently looking. Like I'm like cuz like they like I'm like especially when they move.
Gooch, When
like,
he wants to see if they have nipples,
this is a Disney movie, guys, or it now is. I'm like, there's a lot of nudity in this. And I'm like really paying attention. I'm like, I don't think they have nipples.
Well, they don't have sex characteristics, so they don't have genitals.
They don't have sex organs.
They don't, because that's
their braid.
Yeah,
Right.
it's their braid.
Right.
So I don't really understand why she has boobs. Or anything. It doesn't, I think he probably explains it in some.
How do they give birth?
They get pregnant, apparently. So
how do they give birth? That's what we gotta know.
So they have to have something then. You're right, but in interviews I was looking up because I was like, we were talking
maybe they
during the whole
milk
movie.
through their hair or something.
Just
Jesus Christ,
just comes
but
out of their
like,
head.
dude, I'm like, she doesn't have nipples.
I'm pretty confident she does. I'm fairly confident they do. The women, because we saw them.
Is there a nudity tag in the PG-13 rating?
There might be, but it's funny.
Partial nudity?
I think when you're doing
I think that's like a game thing.
When you're doing it like in this kind of context, I think it's weird. Like those.
Let me see those nips.
Those don't really get like the same type of rating as much as like just nudity for sex, I guess.
Right. It's not sex nudity.
So
it's,
yeah, I don't know. Interesting thoughts. Interesting thoughts on the anatomy of the Avatar.
Yeah. So we're seeing
the Na'vi.
We're seeing Sully getting his second life. And yeah, and so once he finds Neytiri, I really like Zoe Saldana.
She's great.
Zoe Saldana in this role, by the way.
Yeah.
It's kind of like her bird breakout role.
Definitely.
Was Star Wars. Sorry, was
she
Star
was
Trek
definitely
before
more.
this?
I think it was the same year.
Okay, because this role was definitely like I never thought like I knew she was in Star Trek, but it like her as what's her name, Arroyo, right?
Yeah.
Arroyo?
Ahoya.
Yeah. And like I'm like, she's in that, but like,
Yeah,
not
it was 2009.
not a main character in the Star Trek, but obviously there. But like this is really I'm like, oh, okay. Like when she was casted as Gamora, and I'm like, oh, who's Zoe Saldana? Oh,
Who's Zoe
Avatar.
Saldana, yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
She's
And Star Trek.
okay.
I definitely think those two kind of at least made people like aware of her.
Right,
for sure.
Right. And she's great. She's a hell of a crier.
I don't love her cry.
I think it's really.
I get that it's supposed to be like a wail.
Unnerving.
It is.
It's like very like. I almost thought it real because I think when you see people go under distress in like the moment and like people just start like kind of wailing and crying, like it's almost like that.
No, for sure.
So I get why it may be like a little cringy.
No, I do, but yeah, the way you say it, yeah.
Like I don't know, like I was just like it's interesting way to depict crying for an
No,
alien.
for sure, especially when you lose someone hard.
He meets her, she's untrusting, they kind of bond a little bit. He brings her back to the tree, and then all of a sudden
they braid fuck.
No, not yet.
Oh, sorry.
We're not getting there yet.
My bad.
And he has the secret mission of like Stephen Lang's like you're gonna scope them out and be our inside man in the science team and we're gonna figure out how to take down this tree or relocate them.
Because
leaning towards destroying the tree.
Because of course the largest deposit of unobtainium is under their tree.
Yeah. Of course.
But
how could you obtain the unobtainable?
It's unobtainable, Gooch. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry, go ahead.
And within that time period when the this Na'vi tribe, because we know there are multiple, and Way of the Water is dealing with.
It was funny. I forgot they showed all the other tribes when they were going
back
after this.
I was
totally
like,
forgot.
oh wow, like there are other tribes, and like we don't really get another thing. We only get surface level. But so in that part where he's like kind of training with the Na'vi, he really turns really quickly. And he seems to be he also wins over the Na'vi very fast.
I feel like they don't do a good job of conveying how much time has passed.
Right. 3 months.
Yeah.
It's
and
not
even
that
that's
much
still
time.
not even that much.
I'm like, you won these people over in like a month? I'm like,
or you learn their entire culture in 3 months.
Yeah, like it seems like something over like at least a year.
I would say that too. Yeah, give them maybe more than 3 months to get them out of there. I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't buying that because like we get to that point, it's like, oh yeah, now
I'm one of you,
and then he just
I'm
switches.
willing to betray my species to stay
and I was
here.
even
and
thinking, I'm like, what if he told her early on that like he had a secondary objective here as one of the science team, because they even say like we've seen these people before, like they're scientists, not warriors. This is the first
guy's
warrior.
a warrior. Yeah.
What is he? I forget what he calls them. The Na'vi leader calls them.
Something fake.
Dreamwalkers.
Dreamwalkers.
Which is kind of like I was thinking like Mass Effect, like tank bread, like it's
very interesting.
Krogan who's not really of natural
I do
birth.
like a lot of the terms they use in this movie. It's good at creating new lingo. But continue.
Yeah, but I'm just like, I don't buy that Sully like had this flip this quickly.
I agree. It's weird.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like
quick.
it's very...
But it's a 2 hour and 45-minute
Well, that's
movie.
the thing. I feel like it's really slow until he meets up with the Na'vi, and then it's like, we're here. Now they're going to attack the tree. And now...
Right.
And
We've
I thought,
escalated really quickly.
yes, and then I thought, I was like, oh, this is the final battle. I was like, oh, no, they just blow up the tree, and then there's another final battle.
But dude, that whole hour fight at the end is great.
That's where Cameron
Really
shines the
good.
most is the action.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
he
it's really
knows how
cool.
to do action, and I agree. I agree. Even just all the different Na'vi doing all the different things, all the animals coming in, the Marines using all their different weapons. It's very well done.
How'd you feel about Stephen Lang's character? Because you laughed when I said his name earlier.
No, I didn't even mean to. I think I was more laughing that he was Cable back then. He should have been Cable. And
Yeah,
if they
very
did that
Cable
then,
look.
oh my God, he would have been perfect. But no, he's fine. I mean,
is
he's kind
Papa
of like the
Dragon,
classic
Papa
kind of
Dragon.
stereotypical Jughead Marine guy.
Yeah. I mean, they all are.
Yes, and that's the kind of other thing that I didn't really love about I felt like a lot of the human characters were
Are
super
shitheads?
stereotypical and just and maybe they'd hire the shittiest of shitheads ever, but like when they're saying how they're gonna go burn down the tree and everyone in the room's like, yeah, like,
See, when they finally do it and they're in the
Then-
room, it seems like everyone in the
it was
room is
kind
like,
of finally being like,
"Oh,
maybe we
fuck."
shouldn't have
And
actually
then,
done that.
and then even the CEO has this look on his face. He's like, fucking pull him out.
Yeah, he's
I'm
like, all right,
wait,
well,
what?
we did it already. So I really didn't like that CEO guy. I just
Yeah, and
felt
I'm
like
like,
he
wait,
was
you
like,
just had this look of like regret on your face. Pull him out.
and then he's just like, oh, well, it is what it is. Pull him out. One thing I did not love CGI wise that I didn't felt like held up. I felt like a lot of the physics when the Na'vi were like falling or like tumbling wasn't exactly right. I don't know. It felt like they didn't have the weight that they should. It felt like they were almost floating as they were tumbling. That was the only thing.
They were getting caught by these leaves more than they should.
And maybe you could maybe tell me that they're lighter and they can survive higher falls because
They're
that's what
definitely
they've been
more
doing
agile
and they're more
than a
agile.
human being.
But it's not even like necessarily specific stuff like that. It's like when they're like tossing and tussling and fighting. Like it didn't feel like it had the weight that like two people wrestling around or tussling through the jungle should. But that was the only thing that really stuck out to me, CG wise. I'm trying to look at my list here. Yeah, but I didn't want to see him tame that gigantic dragon or anything. Thanks, guys. I felt like that was a weird MacGuffin to just bring in.
Right, the legend of
legendary
of that one banshee, and it's only been tamed 5 times.
Like,
And
I
I
felt
like
like-
how they set that up, but like again, we don't see the trial and the tribulation
Of him
that
trying to do it.
of that achievement. Like we just
It-
it just shows up,
And then now he's back in the good graces of them.
were those? I guess those chiefs were kind of like almost avatars of their god, like in a way
What with those what's? I'm sorry.
of Iwa or whatever.
Which were?
An avatar is like like
No, I know. I'm saying what was that whole? I'm sorry. What was the thought? The Chiefs. You said the Chiefs are representation
right, like those chiefs were like almost like as close as
to Iwa or whatever
as you can be.
Yeah, and the mother person too as well. But yeah, no, it's interesting. Their whole culture. I think they did a good enough job of just showing this kind of more native population that is more focused on the spiritual. I don't think there's a ton like to their kind of culture. It's more of the earth stuff that I'm like, man, we really have no
the
idea
planet
what's
actually is.
yeah, like what's been going on. Like is Earth, and I guess we shouldn't really care about it. That's not what the story's about. But like, why is this company? Yeah, why is this company doing what they're doing? What does Unobtainium even do? It just feels like a MacGuffin to cause a conflict.
Well, he tells you it's like
It's
just
just
a
a-
billion a kilo.
That's what I
or
mean. But
something.
like again, but what? Like why? Like
Right,
what is
right.
it?
Why?
I get
Yeah,
that, but like,
yeah.
is it doing something that like no other material can do? I don't know. There's stuff there that I felt like you could have maybe spent more time on. I do think, like you said earlier, the pacing is probably my biggest issue with this film. Some of the dialogue just isn't there for me.
like what? You said that earlier.
It's more of the human stuff, whereas I feel like it's just super, I feel like stereotypical and like kind of weirdly delivered. Like it's just like, this is what I'd say because we need it to happen. It's like, okay, that's fine. But action-wise, I do think this is where it stands out the most. Let me see.
Yeah, like the narrative, like is pretty almost Pocahontas-like.
He said he was inspired by Pocahontas after watching this, for
but
sure.
It's not.
I've heard like
anything-
Dances with Wolves comparison
It's
too.
not
I've never
really
watched
anything
that.
crazy. I don't
No,
know.
it's not.
It's been done. It's like, and again, like the narrative is not the star here. The world, the
setting,
CGI,
the CGI.
and the action.
Yeah.
Are. Like, you know, when all those banshees are coming in on the planes and they're fighting them, like, oh man, this is sick.
Cool. It's awesome.
And watching
Great visuals.
The brother jump into the back of the one thing before he dies, and he's like fighting all these dudes, and to see like the Avatar next to a human, you don't really see it all
often,
that much.
but when you do, it really does put into perspective how much bigger they are.
Right.
Absolutely.
So are the human? So I forgot Stephen Lang died.
I forgot what's her name died too.
Sigourney.
Yeah. How does her daughter come back?
Right. Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
I was thinking about when you told me, it's like, oh, it's her daughter.
I forgot that she died like that. Like I thought she died.
Maybe when she got
like some of her consciousness did get transferred into the tree somehow, and then that's.
Right. That's we definitely got to talk about that, but
because she plays her daughter in the second one, but as an avatar or a Navi, I should say.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's going to be any, because they kicked them off the planet. I didn't remember that.
I didn't remember that either.
And I'm like, okay, so like, are there?
And they're coming back, so it seems like they're.
They are.
Well, you see humans in there's like human.
I need to see now that I've seen the movie. I got to rewatch the trailer.
There's like human avatar, like avatars that are humans, like dressed as humans. So they're using avatars as human soldiers in it. Like you see like regular people in avatar stuff. Yeah, now we should absolutely since we've seen the movie. Anything else on the actual story? Anything, Gooch, that we'd want to talk about?
The part where he gets his consciousness transferred.
Yeah,
I think like since you just hinted on,
absolutely.
Like, obviously, like
now Jake is a full
too weak.
Navi.
And, like to do it, but I'm like, you know, like going back to like the biology of the planet, like how can it do that? That's crazy.
And is it just copying it into it? No, it seems to be transferring.
Since it's like it's not just Avatar or Navi, it's you can do it to humans.
It can do it to apparently aliens. Yeah. It is an interesting idea for sure.
Sigourney Weaver naked.
Yep. She looked like poison. She looked like freaking Poison Ivy. She had all the vines all over.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was like, "That's not her real body." I was like, "I think you're right." It looks a bit too toned. I think it was all CG. And it would make sense that they were doing it with all of the vines and stuff around her. I wouldn't be surprised if they completely replaced it.
Don't count Sigourney out.
Would you should people watch this before the second one? I guess they have to, right? Yeah, you have to.
I think you need the refresher.
At least maybe watch a YouTube video. I don't know. That kind of brings you back up to date. It's a 2-hour, 45-minute movie, so be ready for that. That's all I will say. But let's get into some fun facts here, Gooch. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I have a heartbraking one at the end of this.
You told
so we'll
me.
talk about it. Monetarily speaking, I should say. Some people watching might already know about it, but I'm excited to tell you. I feel like we might have discussed it before too, but I don't know. So Sam Worthington was apparently living out of his car when he auditioned for Avatar. He was a big name in Australia at the time, but not really so much.
Since this?
Not a lot. He was in Wrath of the. He was that star that never was. I kind of feel bad because he's not a terrible actor or anything, but he was in Clash of the Titans. He was in this Terminator, Salvation. I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. He didn't really take off. I think after this, maybe how he wanted. But I know James Cameron really wanted an unknown after he went to his first choice. But we'll talk about that. That's to do with the sad news. But according to James Cameron, Pandora is a moon in the planetary system of the star Alpha Centauri, and Earth has the brightest star. Should have the brightest star in the sky there. That you on Pandora, the brightest star in the sky would be the one that has Earth around it. So if you were to stand on Pandora, Cameron apparently nailed cell phones to the wall if they went off during shooting of this film.
Okay.
Crazy. Apparently, he said he did it very calmly. I don't know how you do that very calmly.
Nail a cell phone to the wall.
He had a nail gun and then just, I guess. But yeah,
it's a lot of money.
So I would assume he's paying me back. But 2009, that was first iPhones. So they probably weren't the craziest phones that everyone has. Maybe still some flip phones in there. When was the first iPhone?
2007.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, Jesus. Cameron conceived of his first ideas for Avatar in around 1994, but he believed the technology wasn't advanced enough to create the film.
Yeah,
obviously.
that's pretty well known because the sequel, it's the same. It's the same. He ran into the same issue.
Yeah. So, and then you might know this too, but the thing that convinced him that the technology was there was seeing Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He found, and he thought that, I quote, he believed that compelling photorealistic fully CG characters could exist in a photorealistic world and it would not be jarring at that point. So that's when production started, basically in 2003, I think, when he saw the first one. That's when he kind of really started to get going. The word avatar comes from Sanskrit and is used to describe godlike beings taking human forms to restore the balance of the world through good deeds.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier.
Yeah, and Cameron also made the Na'vi blue and tall people in the name or in the likeness of the god Vishnu, a Hindu god who sustains life in the universe.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's where he got the inspiration from. Avatars have this is something we actually noticed in the movie. It was a kind of cool little thing. Avatars have eyebrows and 5 digits per hand, and a foot and a foot. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, 5 fingers on their hands and feet, and also have eyebrows. While the regular avatars or the regular Na'vi do not,
because
so that's how they distinguish.
Human
exactly,
genealogy.
they're mixed.
I
in.
did notice that.
That was it was a good little trick, and it is funny how key the eyebrows are in making someone emote. Apparently, that was a major issue they were having while making this movie. Was since the Na'vi didn't have eyebrows, you really kind of have to make them more fully emote versus someone who has eyebrows. So cool little things there on the CGI. This movie is 40% live action, as I said before, and 60% photorealistic CGI. Most of it was done through motion capture, obviously, and stuff. And that took a while back in the day to transfer that to a full film. The Na'vi language was created entirely from scratch by linguist Dr. Paul R. Frommer. James Cameron hired him to construct a language that would be easy for the actors to pronounce, but would not resemble any human language. He completed about 1,000 words for the language. So, and it sounds like a real language, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, this is the heartbreaking one.
Okay. I think
you might know this. I feel like we've talked about it before.
You mentioned good.
Matt Damon stated in an interview that James Cameron offered him 10% of the total film. Just 10% of the all the budget, all of the receivings, and he would have made, if he took this deal by now, about $603 million. It is truly an exorbitant amount of money that he gave up on by not taking that. I think he was doing the Bourne franchise at the time, and he was like, I just don't have the time. And like James Cameron was like, listen, I'm only offering this to you. Apparently, I saw stuff about Jake Gyllenhaal being considered too, but
I think Matt Damon in that role would have been too jarring.
Really? I think it's just hard to imagine now. I think he would have worked perfectly back then.
I don't know. I like how it's an unknown actor.
Oh, and that's what he said he wanted to do.
Like being, like a doppelganger.
No, absolutely.
Thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Sure. But yeah, he lost out on a ton of money. It really sucks for him. I remember he's doing fine. No, he's doing totally fine, but he truly wouldn't even have to think about a thing now if he took that. But like I said, he was in the middle of the Bourne franchise and just didn't have the time. But Gooch, that wraps us up for our fun facts and just discussing Pandora in general. Want to lead us out?
No, because we're gonna need to rate it.
Oh, that's right. We didn't. Okay.
Absolutely not.
Mid-tier movie.
Whoa. Okay.
Maybe bordering on high tier.
High tier movie.
High tier movie?
Yeah. I don't think it's
I'm leaning on it, but
I don't think it's a film. I think it's a film because of the
technological advancements.
Right.
Yeah.
But not anything else.
Fair.
Yeah, it's definitely a high tier movie. I think mid tier is underselling it a little bit.
Fair enough. I just really think the length is what truly kills me. But yeah, that's James Cameron's Avatar.
So if you've been watching live on twitch.tv/Delco Network, we thank you very, very much. You can find this podcast anywhere podcasts are found. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you know the drill. Or on YouTube, youtube.com/Delco Nerd Network. You can follow us on social media at Delco Nerds, Twitch, or on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, as well as Facebook.com/Delco Nerd Network. You can find all this information on DelcoNerdNetwork.com, where you can also join our Discord. We're talking about all sorts of shit going on. Game Awards is going on now. By the time this is out, the Game Awards podcast will be out, so make sure you check that out if you're interested. And obviously, we'll probably be talking about Way of the Water as it comes out, because I guess
probably within the week.
Well, yeah, we're probably going to review that. We haven't really talked about it.
I think we kind of have to now that we did this.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
Yeah, that kind of was the point.
We actually never really talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we will. Yeah. DelcoNerds@gmail.com. Comments, questions, things are the comments, questions, concerns, things for the good of the group. What I was trying to say. And you can also post in the comment section on YouTube, as well as leave us a review on Apple Podcasts.
Hit that like button too, please.
And you can also give us some stars on mobile only for Spotify. It doesn't work on
intriguing on the like computer app.
Yeah, but it works. Like, you can give a podcast 5 stars on Mobile.
Interesting.
Anyway, my name is Anthony Ragucci. His name is Chris Trio. We want to thank you for watching. Stay nerdy, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, guys.